Hey, we're unmuted now. Great. Okay, great. Here we go. That's good podcasting.
You did that. That wasn't me. I don't control anything here. It's not me. Don't blame me, folks.
Yeah, welcome back to the box. No audio until right now. Brian Campbell back at it. That BCX.
But we're doing this shit.
Well, that's what B-Hop did. It's cool. It used to be cool in a men's room, at least.
I mean, DMX also. Yeah.
Hey, Rafe Bartholomew, New York Times bestselling writer, obviously, right? It's been a long time since we've put our orifices.
I shouldn't have left you without some dope box to get into.
That's true. Rafe, we're back finally after a few weeks off, busy schedules. Was that a little swipe of the LC right there? The liquid crack?
Oh, hell yes. Yeah. We're doing the Kroger Big K ginger ale today. It's got some bite to it. It's got some bite to it.
2018 Rafe is like, I ain't no ginger. 2025 Rafe just living the gimmick, right?
Oh, come on. I always love some Schweppes, some Canada Dry Seagrams. That was always good stuff.
Sweaty balls, whatever you gotta do.
I apologize to my gracious host here in the Mitten in Michigan.
Yeah.
But I cannot fuck with Vernors. It is so weird. It is so fucking weird.
All right, stay Fago, right? Fago for
life. Fago all day.
There it is. All right, thank you for tuning in today, folks. For all of the throngs of you showing up today. Thank you very much. We're excited this Tuesday morning, June 3rd, 2025, to get back inside the box. Big weekend to recap from Beck the Bully's fun little brawl there to, hey, how about PBC back in a big way? Big news overnight. Well, okay, you're laughing at that. Back in a way. Back. Okay, back. All right, they're back, baby. All right. Also, big news overnight involving Teofimo Lopez and Devin Haney. We'll get into that. RIP to the body snatcher as well. Thank you, Jay, for getting inside the box with us. It's a little crowded here, but that's how we get down. And whatever else is on our damn minds. Rafe, it's been 2+ weeks since our people, the boxy people, have heard from you. Please, outside of that, very handsome haircut you've acquired there, what is good in the life of the Mitten over there in Michigan, Rafe Bartholomew?
I mean, summer is here. We're getting up close to 90 degrees today. It feels, it's the seasons are here. I mean, you think that summer fever looks crazy in New York or in the Northeast? No, come out here to the Midwest. People will crawl over each other to get to the river to put in their kayaks and shit. Not me, but
you're like, I'm from New York. I don't do white people thing like that. Okay.
No golf, no golf, no tennis, no pickleball. All right. I'm playing basketball only until my Achilles break. And then I don't care what happens to me.
Okay. You're like, I'm just out here dipping loaves of bread and soda. Okay. That's my snack, baby.
Yes, that is that yes. But speaking of dipping, have you ever been, are you tempted at all to mess with this Zen shit or any of these weird nicotine patches?
No.
I mean, were you ever a dipper? Did you dip the real thing? You had some school back in the day?
I dipped in high school and college briefly until two things happened. One, my parents found my empty mouthwash bottle that I was
going to say, that's a really hard habit to find, hard habit to hide.
Yes.
He's constantly spitting into bottles. It's disgusting.
There you go. And then, the first time you swallow a mouthful, first of all, Tyson Fury said once a man swallows, he never returns. But
that was true in your case.
Once a man swallows either the packets or the loose
chaw,
the puking is of just an unnatural alien quality. The pain, the amounts that come out of you. So that kind of shelved my.
Okay, but you can't go wrong. That's the beauty of the Zyn, right? I mean, it's just the nicotine. They take the tobacco out, give you a weird little patch, and you're buzzed out there. All these doctors my wife works with, they're on that shit nonstop, and I'm like, maybe I need that. Maybe I need to go talk to Victor Conti here to hook me up with something. Yes, I need it.
Adam, I like when we talk about boxing too. Maybe in the next 35 minutes we have to talk about.
We will, but it ain't gonna come on your schedule.
There it is. There it is. Early support for the podcast. Super chat always open. Thank you for your support from Matthew Garrett.
Yeah.
Where you at in Michigan, Rafe? This gentleman is in Grand Rapids.
Shout out to Western Michigan. I live in Southeastern Michigan. I'm bad at so I'm here in Metro Detroit. Pontiac, Auburn Hills.
You're in the Thumb, right near Windsor,
No.
right?
Yo, the Thumb is a different animal. The Thumb is look, I'm not a Michigander. I'm not a native. I probably have no business really offering opinions, but I've been here 6 years. I can say a little something, but at the same time, if you're not born in New York, shut the fuck up about the city. Yeah. But as a Michigander of 6 years, at least I have a driver's license here. I like the Thumb a lot. They're nice beaches up there. They have an annual, Michigander. That's the term up here. You got it.
That's my guy Luke Nocita in the house right there.
Like
when you're like, I like the Thumb. It feels good. You know what I mean?
Get it up there. Yeah. They have an annual Jimmy Buffett festival. It sounds like right be up your alley, Brian.
Well, no,
I've seen the people up there. They're right in the Brian Campbell wheelhouse.
This is the same thing that happened in the 90s. People are like, oh, BC, you support the random rare white NBA player. You must love Ostertag. And I'm like,
so what? You don't get down with Margaritaville? No,
I don't. I mean,
Paradise.
I'm not going to say
you don't
Jimmy
fuck with the
Buffett's
Parrot
music
Heads
is awful. It just produces the drunkest adult white people that you've ever seen at one time.
I would agree with that, with the lone exception of my night at the Fantasy Springs Casino in Indio, California, when Nico Macias, the Rooster, was fighting JSK, and all of white Tehachapi, even though, I mean, Nico is mixed, but all of white Tehachapi came down and was as drunk as I've ever seen anyone in my life.
Oh, wow. Shout out to that. Antonio Manzo, who we love. Rafe, get on Brian for his.
You weren't on Jeopardy. You're not famous like that.
No, I'm not Katie Nolan level famous, but I will say that. By the way, did you see the
show's dead?
Bill Simmons on Pablo Torre hate crimes that's been going on lately?
Yeah, I did see that.
That's a topic for another minute.
It puts me in a difficult position, right? I mean, these guys are always putting me in the middle of things, right? I mean, which way am I going to go?
All right, so
I would lay off that girl personally. I feel like it's getting a little weird.
Jordan Hudson,
but I also don't care about Bill Belichick at all.
Or their lives or their families.
Right. All of that. Yeah. Like I'm not that guy.
Also, it's on site, Simo. It's on site. Okay.
No, it's not. I removed that. Okay, some of your underlings though could still get it.
Oh, wow. Okay. So Monzo wants to say that we needed to fill time on MK last week. So we came up with MK Jeopardy. Shout out to Luke Nocita for creating it. And your boy B Sizzle, really, really failed and lost badly in this matchup, including a couple boxing questions, but it was difficult. It was a difficult board. Okay.
Man, I gotta look that segment up because I want to see it now. I want to test myself against the master, Brian Campbell.
I don't think you look like it. Remix says Rafe looks like his second grade picture.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is what I know how to do this one, and I know how to. It was always mad confusing when they would tell you, okay, tilt your head more. And I was like, what the fuck? I don't know.
Yeah,
I didn't have a lot of good pictures.
Remix. I'll go if I go Rafeless for 2 weeks. I'm going to need a Robert Kraft style massage. Don't we all?
Why not both?
Yeah, why not at all? Just get it all. Okay. Thank you guys for being here. We're going to talk about a lot of ridiculous stuff. Some of the topics will be about the box. So get fired up. Get ready. I know what they're killing me for. So So the question was, who did Pacquiao lose to in his debut? And I'm like, he didn't lose his pro debut. Yeah. And then apparently they chat GPT'd some of these questions. But the answer of who was his first loss against, I couldn't pull the name in real time. Would you have pulled Rustico Torrecampo?
I absolutely would have. Yes. I mean, I've written about him. I tweeted this. I tweeted my own work like a douchebag.
Yeah. Well, no, that's how you do it. You put, you know what I mean?
My Twitter doesn't even have reach anymore.
My latest. Well, it's got reach.
It wasn't my latest. It was some old shit.
It's
I
got
wrote
reached
it.
to Nazis. There's a lot of Nazis on Twitter these days.
Well,
Right?
maybe they love reading about Rustico Torrecampo. No, but the story of him is wild. He wound up killing someone in the street and then getting away with it. He's also appeared in some street boxing videos online. I mean, it's some wild shit.
Did he happen to knock out Archie Solis over a girl in Guadalajara, or was that
He
just
was not
cigarettes?
involved in that.
All right.
But he might. Also, you've watched that, right? You've watched that fight, have you? It is
on the street corner.
No. The one where Torrecampo knocks out early Pacquiao.
Many years ago.
It's extremely confusing what exactly happens. Like no one, that was one of the things I wrote about, trying to get to the bottom of what exactly was the knockout about, because it looks like it lands to his body, but Manny goes down like he's knocked out cold from a headshot, a la Juan Manuel Marquez, almost not quite that sudden, but close to it. And then so it's really hard to figure out exactly, like, did the punch or an elbow or something clip Manny on the way in? Probably. Before the punch? What I mean, it was real. I doubt.
Probably Manny, like Muay Thai rules were in play. Yeah,
who knows? But the film is so grainy on all this stuff; it's very hard to tell. But
yeah, it's like trying
shout
to
out
find
to Rustico.
Sugar Ray Robinson's welterweight career on tape. Jay wants you on MK. You've been there before. Will you ever return?
If you need me, for sure. I got love for the show.
Well, don't forget, like, we record the show on Mondays a block from where your daddy lives. So if
I don't know what you're talking about there. You ain't trying to tell nobody where I live. Yeah.
Okay. But will you? One day, if you're there, maybe you come in.
Sure, you want me to show up? Absolutely. I don't know if you actually have any reason for me to be there, but I'm down.
Just friendship, really. At the end of the day,
good movie. Have you seen it yet?
No, Friendship. No,
You're not down. That's right. You're not down yet with Tim Robinson, and I think you should leave. So
I don't know who Tim Robinson is.
I don't know if you can. Yes, sir, Luke. Yes, we are going to McSorley's after. But like,
can we record like a pregame preview for a big boxing fight from McSorley's?
You can, yeah. I bet.
Or would they need? They would need some.
You might have to. I can make the connections. You will have someone above you will have to come up with the cashola. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because they don't take credit cards. Everybody knows that, all right? So,
but it's not that bad.
All right, I'll no see also. Yeah. Friendship, the movie.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, I've never heard of it.
Man, you would like it. It's good absurdist comedy.
I like absurdist stuff.
Yeah.
We're closing in on getting into the box.
Nope.
Rafe, are you a fan of Detroiters? Monzo wants to know.
I went back after, so my introduction was, I think you should leave on Netflix, and then I went back and caught up on Detroiters. I like it also, especially because I see places I now actually have been to on the show, or have driven by, or like the
Great Masonic Hall Lodge, or what?
I mean, look, the Masonic is an awesome place. I'm holding out, Brian, on the secret tour until you come out and visit us here in southeastern Michigan.
Maybe we'll find what's really in the basement of the Denver airport in there. You know what I mean? Maybe that's why. By the way, Monzo bringing up MK Jeopardy again. The question was to name every single Gary Russell.
That's impossible.
I came real close, dude. I got Gary Allen.
That's just because you just got to keep making up the same name over and over again.
But I just missed the last one. I forgot what it was. But
Gary Antoine, Gary Antonio, Gary Allen, Gary Russell Jr.
Yeah.
Who's the last Russell?
Gary Raphael. I don't know.
Yeah, right. Know. Sally Jesse, Gary Raphael.
Blackmouth is here for the box. The box is coming. I had another comment I wanted you to see. Oh, Galacci, right? Our guy?
Of course.
Red wine enthusiast. He's saying Belichick hasn't had this much sex since he checked into the Philippine Village Hotel. Never screwed so many Zumas in my life. Well done.
I can't begrudge anyone that experience.
Well done. We did miss a few recaps the last few weeks. The Doncaster de La Hoya was back, but check your other favorite boxing podcast for those recaps, like Mannix and Mora. Okay. I like that show.
I do.
I'm a big Sergio Mora guy.
Okay. Yeah, Latin Snake. I've been in the tank for him for a long time.
Yeah. There you go. All right. Cleaning up some end of the business here from Matthew Garrett again. Also, BC, you got to show Luke that tat. You demand. What the hell are you talking about?
You have a tat?
I don't have a tat. I don't know what this man's talking about, but I support him supporting us. So thank
Show
you
it. Show it.
very, very much. Also from Matthew G. Once took a swig out of my dad's Pepsi, found out it was his chew spit bottle. Oh my God.
That's rough. I mean, I've seen it happen.
That is, you will be throwing up for days. Now, Luke, thank you. Or Luke Thomas is not here. Rafe Bartholomew is. Matthew G, once again, supporting us here. Do you have a dad story with Big G-Bot that rivals this, where you thought you were taking a sip of his apple juice? It turned out to be,
Not really. My father's been sober my entire life.
Yeah. What am I trying to do to you right now?
He's also, he also hasn't, he smoked, I think, before I was born. Anyway, he didn't have a lot of that. I did. So a similar thing did happen to me once. It was in Manila. My neighbor, basketball court, my neighbor, basketball coach, John Flores, shout out. He was having like a party at the townhouse next to where I was staying at. And I was just hanging out there drinking some San Miguel Light. And my San Miguel Light bottle was right next to the bottle that all the people there were putting their cigarette butts in. And I did the classic party foul of taking a swig of cigarette butts.
No, the bottle that I mixed. Yes, yeah, the one with the
I got the Panama Lewis special.
Oh, gosh. From Mr. C, there's an old Connecticut saying we have three sides. The side we show on PBC, true. The side we show on YouTube, very different. And then the side we show in the RBC. Yeah, people are obsessed with the fact that...
Are you code switching out here, Brian?
Often, but,
You do? What
that senior year of high school, we used to buy whippets and then go park in the back of the Arby's lot next to the dumpster and just do them in a car. And I wouldn't recommend that, but it's part of your story. You got to stick with it. You know what I'm saying?
That's not that terrible. It seems it could, not depends on whether or not your brain is Swiss cheese at this point.
Yeah. I see what you're doing there over by the hot dog stand. Thank you, Richard. All right. Is it almost cuck time? Let's see. Okay. It's cuck time right now. Thank you.
What does that mean?
I don't know. And then Matthew Garrett again. Thank you, sir. You DM'd me on, so this man really wants me to play this breastfeeding clip on Morning Combat. Let me take note of this, Matthew G. We'll see how ridiculous. We showed a dead body on Morning Combat yesterday.
Play it here. Well, you did?
Really, all bets are off. Okay. Let's get into the box. Real quick news update. This also happened overnight in the top rank situation of Emmanuel Navarrete. Thank you, Daisy Sanchez. D's nuts Sanchez. Navarrete versus Charlie Suarez. Now a no contest, but not a Charlie Suarez victory. So a lot of people are saying, dear California Commission, you have no bolas. Your thoughts?
We talked about this when it happened, man. This is the right decision. It's not satisfying. It's a bummer for Charlie Suarez, who, if they had been able to make that call in the moment, would have come out with a victory. But that fight would, if he had gotten that win, great for him, right? You want that to happen to fighters who deserve it, which he did. But they're still going into an immediate rematch after that because he wins on like a fluky cut and then has to fight the fight again. So instead we have a no contest, which at least is pretty fair to both fighters.
Yes.
And then it seems as if the plan would be to have them go into a rematch, kind of like Tank and Lamont Roach, where hopefully, their fight was fucked up way worse.
Yeah.
And Lamont Roach has way more reasons to be upset with how it played out. But still, you go into the immediate rematch, and if it was meant to be, it's meant to be. I mean, it sucks because these are underdogs going in, having the fight of the night of their lives against at least fighters who have appeared to be more talented throughout the course of their careers. But still, at least you get another chance. I don't know. There's no better way. I can't think of a better. It doesn't feel great. I can't think of a better way to solve the problem. I'm with you on that. It's better than straight corruption. So I guess we have something. Well, we got lots of that too. If you want some of that, we do have a lot of that. They're also a little upset here, Stephen T, that I played a coffin flip on MK yesterday. I mean, look, I have a real coffin flip. Someone flipped a coffin video. Well, no, they were carrying the coffin down the steps of the church and the bottom fell out. Well,
I mean, I've seen
that's straight
better
out.
days.
Okay, you gotta see. I think you should leave because that happens in the show. That's a bit, man.
Oh,
Shit,
okay.
yeah.
Okay. I thought it was I've seen better days. And then the coffin bottom just
Did
dropped
that ever
out.
happen in 6 Feet Under?
6 Feet Under. I don't know what you're talking
I
about.
never watched. It's that weird. It was that weird HBO show that was on at the
I used to
same
watch,
time as The Sopranos, but nobody. Not the
I only
same.
watched The Fight Game with Jim Lampley. That was my, then.
Ugh,
Oh, and
good
Taxi
luck with
Cab
that.
Confessions. Because
Oh hell yeah!
You
Look,
catch a
once
boob
in a
on there.
while, like if you keep the I don't know the loaf warm, at the right time, you might catch a moment.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, then real sex would come on, and you're
That's-
it's roulette. It's roulette. That's sub porn roulette because you could see a piece. You could see a piece in your screen being
you can
used.
see much
You know what
worse than that. I mean, you could. You do. I'm sure you remember. I know you remember this. Don't tell me you did. You don't remember this, Brian. The episode they did on the Japanese ejaculation contest.
It does ring a bell actually, but I don't know the exact.
I am
details.
scarred for life from this shit.
Okay,
all right. It is the last thing you want to see on an episode of Real Sex.
And Lazy Bed does know how to operate that controller around parents. Thank you very much. That last channel button is on speed dial, ready to go. Okay, unless the last channel button is like Red Shoe Diaries.
What if the last channel was in New York, channel 35, and you end up on the Robin Bird show? You have a problem on your hands.
That is how you were raised.
That's
All right,
gonna be a challenge.
let's do it. This weekend I was on the call. Did you watch this card? I enjoyed it. Fight card.
Yeah, I watched this card. I always catch BC's action. I don't catch it in the moment, but I especially this one, free after the fact, I'm down.
Yeah. Oh, let me pause it quick. R.I.P. Jose Santa Cruz, father of Leo. Man,
Damn.
he fought the good fight, right?
Yeah.
Always had the cowboy hat on. You know what I'm talking about.
And yeah, and just Leo Santa Cruz, his family, his people, we do care about them.
We do.
Leo from afar, from up close, has always seemed like the kindest, most generous, like one of these boxers who you can't even. It's sort of you can't even figure out how he turns into the kind of fighter he was in the ring. He was the nicest goddamn guy. And you speak on it because you called his. Did you call Leo's?
I didn't call his fights, but I hosted.
You're in the mix. You're in the mix.
Yeah, I was in the mix. Look, he's the nicest guy in the world, and he named his son after Al Heyman. I mean, he's like. And by the way, what an underrated, great action career. If you consider the 2 fights with Mares, the 2 fights with Frampton, right? Like, I know Leo didn't die here, right? His father passed away, and we give our love and respect. But I also want to put some respect on Leo's name for being the nicest guy out there. And he kind of quietly retired after the Gervonta fight,
Sure, but hey, I mean, he did a lot in his career. Had a can't really complain about it. I remember, and this is a shout out to just boxing fans and the boxing hardcores in general.
Not regular fans.
Not regular fans. No, I mean, at this point, there are no regular fans of boxing. You're either hardcore or you don't like boxing. But I was back in Grantland days with our boy Jay Kang. We were covering together. We landed in Vegas, and we were covering that weekend when Sergio Martinez fought Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., and I was going to be there at the Thomas and Mack Center. And Jay was going to be watching Canelo fight Josecito Lopez.
What a night. What a night.
I think the MGM might have been Mandalay.
2012, September,
Mexican Independence. And before we got there a little bit early, before there was anything to do, Jay has written about what a gambler he is. So I was sitting at a blackjack table with him. 2 guys came up, and they were just, boxing fans from New Mexico. And they said, yo, Leo Santa Cruz. And Leo, I mean, he was already making noise, but he hadn't quite breaking out in a big way yet. And this guy is a champion. And it's just like, that's the thing. Boxing fans know the sport better than boxing media. It's true. It's hard to, that doesn't reflect great on us. But it's true. I learned more. When I was a serious media, I learned more, got more interesting tips from following stuff that fans wrote and said online
Yes.
than from speaking to whoever, in the business.
So you got more from sled skills over a beer in the Mandalay Bay Sportsbook than you ever did
He'll
with
tell
Raskin.
you everything you ever needed to know about Caleb Truax.
Yes. Shout out to Raskin, though. Big fan of Eric Raskin. We got to get him on the show. In fact, him and I got some Survivor talking to do on podcasts. I know you don't get down.
All right, you leave me out, but yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, what if we brought this guy Raskin on the show? You're like, I'm out. I am.
No,
out.
I'm yes, of course. I love Raskin. I want to talk to Raskin.
What a guy. What a
But
guy.
not about Survivor, not about Bruce Springsteen,
No.
not about poker. We can talk boxing.
Poker. I just met her. I mean, come on. You know what I mean? Also, real quick, I started to watch that Diddy documentary on
Tubi?
Peacock.
No.
And I was wondering, do you think Turkey has his own Diddy-like initiations for those on the inner circle like Cop?
What was I don't know what Diddy's initiations were. I hate to ask even what they were.
Yeah.
How bad is this?
Let's just leave that in the joke.
I don't think he's making his media minions do that. I don't know who he's making. He probably has some twisted shit going on, though. We could agree on that.
Yeah, oil-based twisted shit, probably. All right, let's get into PBC. It was at the Michelob Light Ultra Arena. I call it the Mandalay Bay, and I love that place, right? Home of Corrales Castillo, home of Canelo Cotto, home of Armando Resendiz upsetting the best laid plans of Caleb Plant, Jermall Charlo, Marination. Did we not learn the lesson from Times Square, from Juanma versus Gamboa? Look, either way, I was really happy because all week Armando Resendiz looked the part. He did not fall for any of the BS, the mental games. He was just smiley, muscular, ready to go. And dude, he fought the fight of his life. But here's the real question following a split decision win over Caleb Plant. But let's be fair, David Sutherland's scorecard of 7-5 Plant just didn't make a lot of sense. Was this victory more about a Resendiz coming out party or more about 32-year-old Caleb Plant showing some legit signs of wear and tear? I mean, he's only 32 years old, but that's not the sweet hands that I know. How do you frame what we ended up seeing Saturday night?
It's difficult to take like strong conclusions away about Resendiz other than he fought a great fight. He was the deserving winner. He got the win on the scorecards. Like amen to that. Like,
yeah, shout out to Manny Robles. Great game plan.
Great game plan. And like he it's hard to come up with examples of times when fighters he's trained have performed beneath expectations. And obviously he has this recent run of fighters coming very close and kind of getting jobbed, right? I mean, he spoke about it in the post-fight presser. What were the recent ones he had before they broke through on this last one, Resendiz?
Well, he retired he was the first guy to stop Jarrett Hurd.
No. I'm talking about Manny Robles. He had two near upsets in the past year that he mentioned and they're both like, damn, yeah, you should have won that. I think one of the Elijah Garcia wins or lost, whatever.
Yeah, with Terrell Gaucher against Elijah Garcia.
He had Gaucher. And Gaucher definitely won that fight, except for on the cards. Anyway, look, yeah, I agree. He systematically broke him down. It was, do you expect this? Are they having a rematch of this?
Well, Caleb Plant has a rematch clause. He talked about potentially activating it, but then Jermall Charlo came out at the post-fight presser and said, "Look, Caleb dropped the ball, but
we can still pick up the bag.
I'm still willing to do this fight next."
Right. I mean, why? Even better reason to fight his ass because he's
like, look, it's based off a grudge, and I got to get my lick back. That's what he said.
And I would to have been caught by surprise, slapped by Caleb Plant of all people, especially if I was actually a fighter. I would be.
Oh, here we go.
He
hate coming out on Plant here.
He Ted. So I get why Jermall is like, yeah, let's do this right now. I don't care how bad you look. I still want to beat your ass.
All right, Meech wants to remind you that Robles trained Sergey Bochuk, the Virgil Ortiz Jr. brawl. That was amazing that people thought he lost. I expected this from you because you're so salty about boxing that you don't mind if people call you cracker, right?
I don't. I mean, that is a That is
I mean,
a
it was in the moment.
accurate.
Okay.
It's
I cooked
accurate.
it up in the moment. I tried. I threw it out there.
Oh,
But
I get it. I get it now. Good
yeah,
one.
what I really want to know here is that well, look, I love the way Resendiz, who's known as a pressure fighter, I'd mentioned on the broadcast that CompuBox wise, he averages 20 more punches thrown per round than the average super middleweight. Yet he was calm, poised, was willing to give away some rounds, and almost let Caleb Plant do Caleb Plant things, which means look good for 5 rounds, but then slowly start to fade. Only this time, look, that's why I asked you the question of like, what percentage is it Resendiz made the leap or Plant wasn't the same Plant, because I didn't expect these shots that Resendiz landed to move Plant as much as it did. And then to hear Breadman Edwards, who gave one of the best media scrum interviews in terms of honesty I've ever heard after, that's exactly what he said. He's like, I don't know why these punches were destroying his face and moving him when they didn't really look in real time like they were the kind of shots that like Canelo or Benavidez was landing on Plant.
I mean, like, I guess that's look. Breadman I cannot say I can't say enough nice things about him, but that's bullshit. Like, like that's I can tell you what happened too. Like, Caleb Plant is slipping. He's losing a step, and he had one particularly useful talent athletically as a boxer, and that was quick reflexes, being able to pivot out quickly and make people miss. He wasn't able to do that against Resendiz. All right. His hands were still pretty quick, but he's never had the power to do much with it. He's never had the power to discipline an opponent unless he catches them completely off guard with something.
Like the dog? Like
just man, that last fight of his career, man. All the damage, everything that the dog
that was a perfect setup. Come on, to the body, then the hook up top. Come on.
He washed dog. Okay, great. You get you get that wet dog on your resume. I wasn't a big fan. I never thought his brother was better for him and better than him to begin with.
I hit the wrong one, but to answer your question, Daisy, so this was Resendiz moving up, but he turned pro at light heavyweight. He fought at cruiserweight before, and he had many
fights. At cruiserweight?
Yeah, he did.
Who did he fight at cruiserweight?
I don't know. So like early in his career, he weighed in at like 183. Also, he fought a bunch at super middleweight before moving down to 60. So that's why it wasn't a size mismatch. But back to
you look at them in the ring, there was no like blatant size discrepancy between the two of them. But no, I mean, I think I would like if there's a rematch or not, I would like to see Idol. ¿Cómo está? I would like to see Resendiz against other opponents, right? To see how he looks. Does this translate? Because in that case, I mean, honestly, that could reflect well on Caleb Plant as well. Because if Resendiz looks good, then it's like, all right, you lost to an up and coming fighter who's sort of finding himself and actually might be having a moment, might be making a serious contender run, and it's not the end of the world that you fell short against him. I think but it's just clear to see that Caleb Plant has lost a step. He can't get out of the way of punches like he used to, and that was the thing he did best. He made guys miss. He was genuinely elusive. And that would be.
Did he look like he lost a step? Because he was kind of dominating through, or not dominating, but
two rounds. I mean, come on.
All right, I'm trying to say
third round. Resendiz got in that ass, and then the fight was a fight after that.
Just what I was trying to ask was: is this just a result of pressure fighters force Caleb Plant to fatigue early, even Uzkoski did late, or was this what you're saying, the confluence of damage, years? But here's the other thing. He's fought once per year the last 3 years. So is it inactivity as well? Because I don't think at 32 he's washed. I know what I saw on Saturday. It was not the best of him. It was clearly a disappointing performance. But it's hard for me to believe that that's who he is moving forward. It sounded like Breadman wanted to say but couldn't, that there may have been some issues in training camp. I mean, did you hear that specific part where he said, I would love to get a full training camp with Caleb where he listens to me from day one and I control all of it? That seems to me like he's sending a message that this co-trainer thing with Caleb's dad might not be perfect.
Yeah, it does sound that way. I think that's what he was saying, and kudos to him for saying it in a pretty diplomatic fashion. That particular training style doesn't have a lot of great results in important fight. This wasn't even supposed to be an important fight, right? It's supposed to be some stay busy shit. But that particular arrangement doesn't have the best track record. I mean, I think of when Nonito Donaire was being officially trained by Robert Garcia, but he was, living in Northern California with his family and his dad, and in training with his dad. And Robert would just come in and work the corner on fight nights. That shit, it's not. I mean, you can, these are talented, great in Nonito's case, and in Nonito's case, a great fighter. In Plant's case, a former championship level fighter, and still they weren't their best in those situations. Like it's sort of obvious, right? If you're not, whoever's going to be your coach, that should be like, you should go have a training camp with that individual.
Sure.
Because it's just like that, whatever gets lost in translation, whatever the coach wants to see for those first 4 weeks or 6 weeks of camp or 7, I don't know when Breadman came in and was with Plant, was it just for fight week? Was it the last 2 weeks?
No, he said that he goes to Philly for a little bit early on, then he goes back, works with his dad, then Bread comes to Vegas for like the end of the camp. That's what it kind of sounded like Caleb had been saying leading into the fight.
Yeah, I mean, I also think, if I was advising Brett, I'd just be like, look, man, cut your losses now. This guy's a loser. Like, he's not,
okay. This is the
he's only going to make you look bad. He's just going to keep making you look bad.
So wait, do you have a Canelo-like, deep-rooted, I told you guys this guy wasn't for real feeling on Plan, and now you have
Canelo is for real. I can't, I still don't, I cannot credibly call myself a fan of Canelo, but he's clearly for real. Like I am not going to sit here and tell you he's not a great fighter. How I will goddamn tell you that about Caleb Plant. Yes. He's good. He's all right. But like, was Katagi still his best win? Maybe, or you give him credit for the Durrell one, like Wash Durrell. Like his resume is trash.
Trash is aggressive. Are you okay? If you're saying that he
was protected on the way up,
his celebrity and his star power is bigger than his
celebrity, by the way. What are we talking about here? Like, look, all right, let's stick with the resume. He did not have any particularly difficult fights on the way up.
He sent Mike Lee back to Subway.
Right on. Yeah, exactly. When he beat Uzcategui, good win, but I mean, how did Uzcategui get that belt? Like fighting the last days of
he fought
Andre Durrell.
Yeah, he fought Durrell's uncle in the
and then getting assaulted by Unk in the corner. That was assault, to say the least, brother. So he like those like that. Those are good, but not super impressive wins. Then you just sit on, you just tread water fighting Vinny Feigenbutz and whatever, getting bullshit defenses.
Okay, that's a pandemic fight, though. I'll forgive it. I don't like the inactivity, but can't you give him credit? He came to win against Canelo. He got stopped. I don't hate on that. That's the best. He fought the prime version of Canelo. But I give him credit for the balls he showed against Benavidez, the way he sold that fight, the fact that he was in that fight until he wasn't, and the fact that he went the distance when he really had no business doing that. But is that still playing into your argument that it's like warning track power ultimately?
I don't know. He just was never, warning track power. He was never actually in those fights. Like he was never I don't think he was ever a threat to defeat either Canelo or Plant. Canelo, we've seen Canelo. If you're a guy who likes to jab and play and fuck around, like Canelo will let you dance for 6 rounds and then get to work. And that's exactly what he did.
He broke Billy Joe Saunders' face.
Right.
Hard. You have to hit a guy to do that.
Quite hard. I mean, I saw those X-rays. That was pretty impressive.
All right. So are you saying, because you have to admit that Caleb Plant's profile has grown a lot in the last 2 years.
I don't know if I agree, but perhaps.
But it's got this like grassroots respect that he's this badass who handles himself in and out of the ring.
You guys made a mistake to give him credit for that. All right. Let's look back at that Trevor McCumbee fight. All right. I know a lot of people were like, oh, look, I agree. It was a fun fight. But there with the consensus coming out of it seemed to be, oh man, that was an impressive win for Caleb Plant. He made the adjustment, stopped the guy who was really overpowering him early in the fight, and dealt with this sort of little wild man, whatever fighter. Okay, that is true. You give him credit for that. At the same time, maybe Trevor McCombie is like just maybe a tiny half step up from that famous guy in the USA Tuesday Night Fights old school YouTube videos. You know what I'm talking about, with the crazy blonde mullet, and he comes out doing this and gets starched.
Like Jimmy Thunder or some shit, or is that the guy that beat him?
I don't know, but he gets starched in about 30 seconds. Like, that might actually be closer to who Trevor McCombie is in the ring than not. And so struggling with him, having to bite down on the gum shield, as the blokes say, and get inside on that, get effing inside on Trevor McCombie, that might have been more of a red flag than people thought coming out of that fight. So sure, maybe it's just time to reevaluate who Caleb Plant is.
Interesting question. I wonder if he believes in, because look, the first fight with Breadman was the Durrell fight. They worked on having him sit down on the shots more, try to bring more power into it. He scored a sensational knockout. He actually had scored 5 knockouts in like his last 7 wins coming in, or some stat like that, which is an aberration. He's not a knockout puncher, but I'm wondering if he hangs around in the pocket too long thinking, look what I did to McCombie. I got on the inside and stopped this guy, although McCombie was a goofy, large, athletic guy who that was the right way to beat him. But some people are asking this question, and I don't think it's fair, but I want to get your take. Like, is this an issue with Caleb, or is this an issue? Why can I not work this? Or is this an issue with the trainer?
I don't know for sure. To me, it's more. I don't think that Caleb Plant looked that different than he has looked over the course of his career, even when he was training with his Tim Scott guy or whatever. Not Tim. Who was Algieri's white trainer?
Tim Lane.
Tim Lane, yeah. Yes. Yeah.
So this is what I was talking about. Meech wants to know, is Breadman overrated if you take into account old J-Rock recently lost in a comeback fight? Kyron Davis lost on Saturday against a guy who looks like a killer in Yoenli Hernandez. I don't think this is accurate. I almost take Breadman's words as gospel and say maybe he just needs more control in this relationship if they're going to continue as fighter and trainer. Yeah, look,
it's fair to ask the question, because at the end of the day, I mean, this is it's competitive sports. It's professional athletics. It is, your results are your record at the end of the day. But if I personally, and maybe it's because I've had good experiences, speaking with Breadman in the past, and I enjoyed reading his Q&As over the years at Boxing Scene and The Ring, wherever he's publishing.
They're great.
He is a good guy, and he probably gets extra benefit of the doubt for that. But when I look at, to me, I wouldn't necessarily judge him as a trainer harshly because he happened to train a handful of fighters who I didn't think were great.
He says he loves underdog fighters. That's the guys he goes after.
He's not, if that's why I'm saying, maybe Breadman should just be a little more careful about picking winners, because he does have some profile. He can get some, he probably can scoop up a fighter who is on, more on the rise than Caleb Plant was than when he hooked up with him. And Caleb Plant has a little bit of that Anthony Joshua, good student thing to him, where he's gonna, he wants to say the right thing. He also wants to grill every writer he speaks to, but he
got up on Ellie. Did you see that video?
I saw, of all people, Ellie, Ellie
step back.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. Look, I'm sure he would do it to me too. And even if I'm taller than him, but I'm not trying to test Caleb Plant. Motherfucker beat the shit out of me. But I'm not.
I like that you had to put that out there just in case anybody was wondering.
I'm just, in case you were wondering, look.
You're a stretch 4 in some circles, but
I think I could probably still beat him in basketball, unless he's nice. He might be nice, but hopefully he's paying attention to his craft.
We need to draft our all boxing basketball teams later in the show if we have time. Okay, because I have a feeling some of these.
Manny was a professional player and coach in the Philippines, despite
I'll talk to Manny on Saturday.
So yeah, great interview, by the way.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Here's a
I
question.
want people to be happy, and it will be a great fight.
I want to thank the gloves of clitoris that I put my hands.
I wanted you to ask about his gloves, man.
Question here. A couple of people had the question. Daisy Sanchez, my guy, DZ, D's nuts. Do you think that Plant should? Because look, the Charlo fight is kind of timeless. Plus, they're both older. Do you think that we should go directly into the Charlo fight, or Caleb Plant, should activate the Resendiz rematch, knowing that in theory he's more talented than Resendiz, and go all in training camp, have Jordan have the baby, like figure this out, get real serious, let Brett have the control, and then go beat this guy and correct the wrong, and we'll be back where we were, where he's an early 30s fighter who may not be a world beater pound for pound, but a solid guy who can give anybody a tough fight.
I think, and I will take off my Caleb Plant hater hat at the moment and answer this, just as straight as I possibly can. I think that a lot of that depends. And I think only Caleb Plant, maybe Breadman or Caleb Plant's dad. Was it Richie Plant?
Yeah.
Where did he come from? He hasn't been around.
Ashland City, Tennessee.
Of course, yeah. Right. But why is he back? Like, I don't know. That kind of charity never works out for the fighter.
Well, by the way, every time anyone asks Caleb a question about Breadman, he instantly says, yes, but my father, the co-trainer, is there just as much, if not more, and blah blah blah. So
was Richie Plant that guy with the glasses and the
in the biker vest? It looked like he was on his way to Sturgis. It was great.
There were moments in the corner where they were both talking, and it was like, yo, what is going on here? Really, it wasn't the great. It didn't look organized. Anyway. So look, as far as should Caleb Plant go after a rematch with Resendiz or just roll straight into Jamal Charlo. I think the rematch question comes down to something that probably only Caleb Plant knows the true answer to, which is, was there some reason that on Saturday night he was not the best version of himself?
Yeah.
Was he, was there something that happened in training camp? Was there a distraction? Was it just, was he just not feeling it? Was it just a bad night? I think as an athlete deep down, he probably knows whether he lost that fight because he was, because there was some anomalous or something, like a clear thing that he can change and improve upon, or if he's just losing a step and this is a bad matchup for him while he is losing a step. A pressure fighter who can take a punch, who really wasn't fazed by, he got hit clean several times, but wasn't really, didn't take a step back whenever Caleb landed his cute little, quick check hooks and stuff. It didn't work. So I think Plant knows the answer to that. He may not, he may not act upon it, but deep down, he probably does know whether or not there's something he can change and get himself back into a position to be a favorite, a rightful favorite against this fighter, or if he's losing a step and this is a bad matchup and he should stay away from it.
Yeah, I think there is reasons. Brett came close to saying them, then he was like, I don't want to say it on camera. He's like, there's just things we need to change for next time. So I think it might be a combination. I don't know if it's, baby on the way, if that changes things. I think it might be more of he just may have looked over Resendiz. Now the whole training camp, he would say he isn't, blah, 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 but deep inside he may have. So that could be it. Either way, we got a fun new player here at 68. So I was happy to see that. Shout out to Manny Robles. Shout out to Nayarit, Mexico, because dude, they showed up with like 1,000 people. It was loud at every press event. They were in the house. But the bigger story seems to be, will we end up seeing Charlo and Plant? Do you care?
No, hell no. I don't care. The idea, I saw a lot of coverage at the beginning of this week coming off of this upset, being like, oh, here's boxing again, just like Ryan Garcia lost. We upset the apple cart and we marinated too long, and the fight that everyone wanted isn't going to happen. Well, who the fuck actually wanted or cared deeply about seeing Jamal Charlo, who fights once every 18 months when he can get his head out of a toilet?
Okay, that's going far. You're going far. You're pushing a little.
And I'm sorry, I shouldn't even. I'm being an asshole because I like Jamal Charlo and I'm rooting for him. But who cares about that fight? Like, these are two guys. Like, boxing has a problem. And this is not a recent problem. This is probably something that's been happening for, as long as I can remember following the sport closely. But there's this weird asymmetry between when a fighter actually is in his fighting prime and doing his elite best work in the ring, and that happens for some stretch of his career. And usually, unless you happen to be a Canelo, an Oscar, the kind of fighter who was always supposed to make that move, rise to that level, and you achieved it on schedule, right? That's the only way to do it, on schedule. Unless you're one of those fighters, more often you see fighters who we could all tell were good. We knew they were good. They don't get the opportunities. They don't get the earning power until they're actually a year or two past their best. And then they squeeze out what's left of their prime. They try to be smart with matchmaking. They try to do everything they can to capitalize on everything that they built up when nobody was paying attention to them, when they were genuinely great. But it's this asymmetry where the guys who are getting the big fights aren't as good as the guys coming up behind them, but the guys coming up behind them can't get the fights against them to prove it because they don't have the names yet. And it is the circle of boxing life.
These comments are great, by the way. They're great.
I'm not even looking, man. I'm in a zone. And so what happens is, basically what I'm saying is, it's time to clear out some of the trash. I don't know what you want to call it. Clear out some of the waste that's been hanging around too long. Like,
so is that why you
separate the wheat from the chaff here?
Is that why we should make Spence Thurman next for that same reason? Because I'm into that fight too. All right.
That just for all how bizarre and weird that's going to be. I'm into that.
I don't know if that'll happen.
I think but I think it's important that the sport, it's time to turn the page from the Canelo era, even though Canelo is still hanging on to a few genuine shreds of greatness. Like, I'm not counting him out still. Like, he's not going to do it, but I would love to see him fight David Benavidez, and I would give him a real chance in that fight, despite recent form and all the reasons people have to say that he's not that guy anymore. But but those are the greatest of the greats. Those are the ones who are great enough to still be championship level, pound for pound level contenders at 30, in their late 30s. Terrence Crawford also. His career is the perfect example of this. When he was great in those top rank lightweight years, he had belts. The boxing press knew, but he wasn't on the scene. Then it took forever for him to get a fair shake from our friends at PBC and whatever. That's business, right? He was on the wrong side of the street. He made that decision. And so by the time he proves it, he's only got a couple fights left to do anything with it. This is what it's. I guess I don't care about Plant and Charlo fighting. It'll be fun because they have beef with each other.
I like old guys fights when they both still.
I do too, but we're still. But the thing is, like, that fight is held out there as an example of a meaningful fight at super middleweight. It shouldn't be anymore. Those guys are past it for various reasons. Plant because he's losing a step. Charlo because he's been inactive and has had problems and whatever. A shout out to him. Like my heart goes out to him. I think he looked pretty good in the ring on Saturday. I'm happy he got back in and got a win, all that, blah, 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 blah. But he's, they're not the future of any division or anything in the sport. They're just some guys who are hanging around making some money off their names.
Well, okay. I get that. But let's talk about Jamal Charlo, 35 years old. One fight in the last 4 years coming in, layoffs of 29 and 18 months. No, I'm not here to tell you that was the right fight, a good fight, or a anything resembling who he should have been fighting in Thomas Cornflake Lamanna, who did retire after the fight. Actually, I felt bad. He was trying to get microphone time after that loss, and I could tell he was going to retire, but
you shut him down?
It's not my call. And, they only wanted Charlo, for understandable reasons.
You already know the best, Thomas.
But shout out to Cornflake same. But
did he get to speak at all?
No, he does end his career 0-6 in step-up fights.
I love it.
Dude, it's not my call. It's not my call. I can't, you know what I mean? Anyway, but with all that said, even with people saying Charlo's body looked a little, some loose change is what Luke Thomas called
Yeah, I heard Luke say it. He was right. He's correct.
But with that said, the jab was there. The patience and poise was there. Normally he's, menacing, looking to set you up for big shots. He was just in there seemingly to put in some rounds and show you that at 35. And look, he said one thing coming in that people laughed at. He said, I feel 25 and I feel like I'm entering my prime because my mind is catching up with my body finally. But I wonder if that's actually true from the standpoint that maybe he's looking like he's going to be a game planning boxer moving forward. He's always been somebody who could box, fight, do it. He could do it all. He's a well-rounded fighter. But I saw some good poise in there, and he returned with his original trainer, Highland. I think it's Highland Williams. And I reported on the air because Jamal said it that he was fine with old trainer Ronnie Shields, but Brunch Boxing is reporting that he's actually been kicked out of that camp and is no longer welcome there. All that said, notwithstanding, does he look like the hitman of old? No. He don't look washed, though. I think he could be in some interesting fights at 68. Do you think he wins any of those, or do you think that we're all just using his name moving forward?
It's hard to say for sure. He's been, between his inactivity, between the questions about everything he's been through in recent years, it's fair to ask, like, how real is this comeback? I think Charlo, I mean, it's hard to evaluate this performance. That's why I almost wouldn't mind if they went straight into a Caleb Plant, fight for them, because while Plant, Plant is to me who I thought he was. I'm sorry that some fans out there, including Brian Campbell, are just, sad that they put so much hope into this guy. But what can you do? Sometimes it doesn't work out. I thought I put a lot of hope into, Yonut Jojo Dan once, and he let me down big time. Yeah.
Party at the Igloo. Yeah.
Yeah. But we do know what kind of fighter Caleb Plant is. Like we do, and we know what strengths he brings. He's going to train hard and be in shape and be competitive. Like he was competitive against Resendiz. He didn't win, but it was not like, it was not a start. It was not like a shocking, oh my God, this guy's washed. Like he's not washed. Caleb Plant is not washed. But so I wouldn't it would be useful to see Charlo against that level of fighter. And see how, if he blows Plant out of the water, then shoot, let's start talking. Let's start, there might be some real bit like he might still have quite a lot left in the tank. Jamal Charlo is still undefeated, right?
Yes. So what do you think I'm kind of starting to talk myself into just doing Plant Charlo next as like a pay-per-view co-main. Yeah. What do you think the odds would be on that? What should they be after Saturday night?
I think Jamal Charlo deserves to be favored, I think he always would have been if they met at any point in their careers. He's just, to me, has always looked like a more dynamic, more powerful fighter. And I think Caleb Plant's quickness is not going to phase Jamal Charlo in any way. I think there's a chance that I don't know. I mean, look, I'm not a trainer. I shouldn't even be. Probably take my ideas on strategy with a grain of salt. I'm just an observer. But consider this the opinion of an observer.
Yes,
online.
Yes. Online, okay? A stranger.
Yes,
a stranger.
Yes. I think that my only worry would be that if Charlo decided to box too much with Plant, not put pressure on him, not push him a little bit, because that allows Plant to conserve his stamina, which has been, a consistent issue even when he was at his best. Like when he gets knocked out, it's late. When he struggles against top level opponents but pulls out the win, who's got the gi, it's late. So this, and he looked terrible in the last handful of rounds of this fight, despite the one guy giving him rounds on the scorecard. That so I guess I would be, if I were Charlo, I would not, there's a temptation to be like, okay, I can outbox it. I can beat this guy however I want. I can outbox him. I can take my time. I can do this. But I think that the greater advantage for Charlo is to really press him and try to land serious shots and take control of the fight early. I hope it plays out that way. But anyway, it's an interesting fight still, because as even though Charlo, I think, looked pretty good, what the hell are we supposed to take away from beating Cornflake LaManna? Like, he was a career 154 pounder. And like you mentioned, and even at that weight, he never particularly gave a credible accounting of himself in step up fights. And we go back all the way to Antoine Douglas, right?
Yeah.
Showbox.
To 2015. 10 years ago.
And I hate, like, I hate to bring in stupid, like, Gen Z media like terms, but is Cornflake the best example of why it's not good to be a nepo baby in boxing? Like, you got a bunch of opportunities because you come from a boxing family, and you do promotions and down in the Philly area.
Well, he played the system, which means beat 9 guys that are regional fighters that he knows he can beat, pay the sanctioning fees for all the regional titles, end up in the top 10 of the rankings, get Charlo fight.
Look, he's gotten a lot of opportunities precisely because they know exactly what's going to happen when they put him in there against a Lara or a Charlo. And that's what happened. It's fine. Like, he's a weird fighter, man. Like, it's watching Charlo beat Cornflake was it felt at times like watching myself or someone play the early levels of Mike Tyson's Punch Out back in the day. You got Glass Joe out there. You could tee off, you could take your time, you could do pretty much whatever you want. Like, because what's coming back don't matter. But then he's also going to taunt you a little bit. He's got, like, he'll throw in some weird comments in the between rounds screen if you don't get him out of there early. Like, it was I don't know. I mean, it felt like Charlo was beating up a sparring partner.
It did. It was bad matchmaking. Let's be honest. And I know Cornflake from way back in the day when he was.
I heard he don't like you.
Just turned pro. No, I like Cornflake.
I heard he doesn't like you.
He used to be boys with. He used to always roll with Mark Abrams. We'd see him in the bars at the Floyd fight weekends. When Mulvaney was getting up on Penn the waitress.
How come I never saw Cornflake out there?
You never hung with Cornflake in the bars?
I never got down with Cornflake.
Oh, all right. I guess we roll.
What a nickname,
you would jack though. You could just jack at any point, end up on a bus with Jay Caspian Kang and miss the Kovalev after party. That's possible.
I know when to call it. I know when to hold them, know when to fold them.
But would you say it's good to see Charlo back? Because Jermel is in the ring, and you got Lance Pugmire, by the way, of Boxing Scene, reporting that Golden Boy PBC are talking about Jermel Charlo versus Virgil Ortiz Jr.
That's great too. Yes, hell yes. Okay. They look, man. Charlo, like, COVID's a weird COVID. We're never really going to reckon with exactly how much that interrupted the sport and the careers of the fighters who were caught up in the middle of that. Whether it's, I mean, like we weren't talking about it last week on this show, but whether it's someone like Josh Taylor, who had all the momentum in the world going into COVID, then the world sort of shuts down, and he seemed to have flipped the switch at that moment into the version of Josh Taylor that we've seen ever since, which is not
racist one or no
anything. Well, that version, unfortunately, seemed to always be there. His little Tweety bird.
I mean, don't point fingers. We got Teofimo dropping hard R's left and right.
Yeah. I mean, in fairness to Josh Taylor, I don't think we ever caught him doing that.
Yeah, indeed. All right, so Big Charlo gets the win. I was happy for him. I know what he's been through, and he looks like more chill. Like, we saw like crazy Charlo come out a little bit in like the press conference, the pre-fight phone teleconference thing, but like all in all, he was poised. He delivered, he did his business. I think he's going to get a big fight. He still wants Canelo. I mean, Canelo would probably take it, but I feel like he's got to do some decent things here to come out. And
can you tell us now, Brian, what happened in the famous and never released PBC Kate to Kate face-to-face that you hosted between Tony Harrison and Jermel Charlo? Can you tell us?
I mean, it was just epic trash talk. It was the best episode we ever did. And then the fight got canceled. We ended up doing a new episode for it, which was really good and arguably the best one. But that original one on the cutting room floor
I wish Tony Harrison had just a little bit better of a chin and more stamina, because
Jermel called me cop. He called me Mike. He kept saying, Mike. He's like, Mike, you always against me. He said that on the air, and I'm like, I go, are you talking about Coppinger? They cut that out, of course. But I'm like, yo, you think I'm Coppinger? What's going on right now? There
You
we go.
all look the same. Come on, man.
Us honkies. Let's get into quickly here. Unbeaten middleweight, Yoenli Hernandez from Cuba, 27 years old, improved to 8-0. Beat up on Kyron Davis. Dude, I got people that know boxing that were texting me going, I think he might be the best middleweight in the world already. And by the way, after the fight, we didn't do an interview in the ring, but at the press conference, Yoenli was saying, I want Janibek. I want all the smoke. Dude, did you see the fight?
Yeah,
This
I did
guy
watch that one.
Is a long-armed, athletic, power-punching, creative, uppercutting dynamo, is he not? I mean, Kyron Davis is a tough out, and that was one-sided as shit.
He looked really impressive in the fight. And yeah, we given some of the recent results Kyron Davis had, we were expecting something that looked a little more even, and fucking Hernandez shut that shit down quick. It is impressive. Middleweight, I mean, what does it mean to call someone the best middleweight right now? I mean, it's not meaningless, right? It's still, I mean, it's competitive on some level, but it's not the strongest we've ever seen the division. So it's not even crazy to hear people say that. Of course, it's rushing a little bit to a conclusion, but it might have more to do with our shout out. They don't be making them bed rights in the Airbnbs. I know this, Peter Davis. But it might be a situation where we're desperate for some action at middleweight, for middleweight to become a glamour division as it has been throughout the history of boxing. And it just isn't right now. It hasn't been since Canelo beat Triple G the second time and moved on. And so we're not, it might be a little bit of like wish casting on Hernandez, but shoot, I'll wish on him like better than watching Janibek beat the stooges he's got going on.
No, I'm with you on that. I need Janibek to fight Adames. I think that Janibek has 2 of the 4 belts. Adames has 1. Lara has the other. Yoenli says he doesn't want to fight Lara. They're both Cuban. He wouldn't prefer it. But Yoenli is knocking on that door, Morel Lomachenko in a way style, meaning that he's got 8 fights and he's ready to go into it right now. So, wow, that'd be great. A quick question from Project Zeb. They want to know if you've ever used this on your mustache.
I have. Does that work?
I don't know. I just scratched the cats with it, to be honest.
Well, and you use it on your face then. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I'm weird like that. I'm weird. All right. And also Isak Lucero, the new signee for Samson Lukowitz, had a good knockout against a guy that didn't look ready for prime time. That's PBC. Let's go over to what we saw in DAZN Golden Boy, also in Las Vegas on Saturday. Bektemir, how do we say his last name? Melikuziev. Beck the damn bully. Gabe Rosado not coming through that door because he took care of that to avenge his only loss. But he improved to 16-1 with 10 KOs after a really exciting 12 rounds against 14-0 Darius what does he say? Fulgham?
No, they were, yeah.
That's how they're pronouncing it, right?
Fulgham? Yeah, they were not. Because at first I was looking at it like Fulgham, and then just heard them say Fulgham.
So it goes down 114, 112 on all 3 scorecards. Beck was deducted a point for round 7 for holding, and then it came down to the final round, fight on the line, and Beck the bully delivers a body shot knockdown to secure the win. Rafe, he's not perfect. I'm not sure he's ever going to wear a belt at 168. I mean, no one's wearing that while Canelo is keeping him hostage and not letting in. WBC's like, yeah, just go. You're the super champion. Do whatever you want. But with that said, how good of a win was this for the bully? Because this was a real fight.
Yeah, such a fun fight. Like the back and forth action in these rounds, that super competitive. Fulgham looked good too. Beck, I mean, and Beck he's just a fun fighter. Like I'm not super convinced in him as a legit top of the division type talent. I think he's probably a little too easy to hit by the best, by the best kind of fighters in the world. But he's fun as hell and he's one of the little fighters like him make boxing a great sport because he does shit in ways that it's hard to compare anyone else to. I mean, it's like, okay, what if we took kind of like a slowish kind of chubby guy and showed him nothing but like Roy Jones tape and told him to fight like that, what would it look like? And it's
Leap
like,
in with hooks.
right.
Yeah.
He's pretty athletic for his build, but he's still at the end of the day kind of heavy. It's weird. He's got like both heavy and quick feet. It's a weird thing. Like he can pivot really well. Like his agility is incredible in those tight turns. But then he's also his upper body movement is slow as hell. And like you saw down that, like when his legs started to go down the stretch of that fight, when he just like he started doing like a shoulder roll something technique that would make Caleb Plant look good. Like he just had his elbow out there. He's like this. He's still just getting tagged. He's fun as hell to watch. The unorthodox angles, some of the way that he'll sort of like he'll the way that he pretends to be like disengaging, stepping out, and then jumps right back in to catch his opponent, which he did with a couple of sweet shots in this that really shook Fulgham and surprised him in this fight. It was fun back and forth action. Beck was a lot of fun. I got nothing to complain about. I don't see him as a true, I think he could win a belt because it's not that hard to get someone a belt, and he's good enough for that level. But I don't know if he'd be the man in this division ever.
No, he's not the man.
I don't even mean like within, of course, not against Canelo, but like everybody moves out and it's sort of like an open field. Still, probably is not going to be him at the top of the hill at the end of the day. But he's better than Caleb Plant, right?
I will rapid fire give you a couple names at 68. You tell me who wins, okay?
Okay.
Beck versus Caleb Plant.
Beck
versus Demetrius Andrade.
It's tough. I think Beck.
Beck versus Jermall Charlo. Oh, wow. Okay. So you put some respect back on the Hitman's name.
Absolutely. Look, I need to see Jermall Charlo lose or look terrible. I mean, he's looked not great in some fights, in some of it, like those weird Brandon item fights and these fights that nobody wanted to see. But I want to, I don't think it's over for him or Jermell. I mean, Jermell needs to want to come back after he made all that money. But if he does, he's a good fighter.
I think he's back. Resendiz against Beck.
That's tough.
That's a good fight, right?
That's a test maker, as Teddy would say, because that'll answer some questions about which one of these guys is for real.
Indeed.
I don't know for sure. I think, I guess. Look, I would start off by saying Beck, because the weird things he does will give him a little bit of an element of surprise. I think it's very hard to train for the style he brings into the ring. If it turns out that Resendiz can take it, oh shit, then maybe Resendiz is the real deal.
It's interesting if he would throw more punches against Beck because he doesn't have the countering ability of Caleb, but I don't know. The name we're not mentioning here at 68 is Jaime Munguia, who was in the news while we were idle.
Get that motherfucker out of here.
Do they have a problem in Eddie's camp with clenbuterol or what?
I mean, look,
that's six fighters in like 7 years.
Not all clenbuterol, right? I mean, like, I do not mean to get Dan the man pedantic on you on the intricacies of these cases, particularly because I don't know the intricacies of most of them.
And I don't care.
But look, I think you shouldn't be getting caught this much. It's not that, like, if we basically understand or presume that most fighters are doping as much as they can get away with
from the beginning. Yes, from the beginning.
Because honestly, they don't really have any other choice, right?
All your heroes are doping, even the Filipino ones.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe not Nonito. Maybe
actually, Caleb Plant. That's one thing I do want to credit him for. He's aging like a clean fighter. Like, he's losing a step in his early 30s, like athletes used to do before modern times.
Before 2013, when they were just having a lot of sex all the time.
His hairline is getting rough in his early 30s, like happens to men who aren't cutting any corners. It might be that Caleb Plant just needs to get with a better pharmacist. Although he's been a snack fighter over time, on and off, right?
Call Memo. Just call Memo.
Yeah. Look, if Vic don't got the good stuff, then you got to call Memo.
Call Uncle Angel, Memo, whatever.
Eddie Reynoso. Yeah, I mean, look, it's a good question. It's worth asking why. What is it? 5, 6 of his big name fighters have all tested positive, and those are in camps that he trained, right? Ryan Garcia. That's on Eddie also.
That's a good point. That was a Derek James era, right?
So I don't know if we give that one. I don't know if we hold that against Eddie.
Julio Cesar Martinez, Andy Ruiz.
I mean, he's been an Eddie guy all the way through.
The Oscar Valdez. Yeah, maybe a few others. Let's.
It's quickly, a problem, Brian. It's a problem.
It's a problem. You know what I mean? Yeah. Prepare your whores for the war that's about to come, Eddie. RIP time. We mentioned Jose Santa Cruz. Tough break on John Brankus of Sports Science, ESPN fame. Did you see that? He had battled depression for years, and it appears he took his life, unfortunately. Also, Jordan Breen of MMA journalism and radio fame and podcasting. Shout out to that guy, RIP. And the Hall of Famer, the body snatcher, Mike Mccallum. Now, Rafe, I wasn't following Mike Mccallum fights in his prime, but I certainly went back over the years, and you realize that this guy, Hall of Famer, for a guy that fought as contemporaries in the same divisions as the Four Kings, but could never get fights with them because he was avoided, to still have the career that he had, to have one of the greatest nicknames, to be known as one of the best body punchers of all time, to be a 3-division champion, to have people like Cliff Rold basically say, look, he might be the second greatest junior middleweight of all time. Dude, you got to put respect on this guy's name. 68 years old, passed away in Las Vegas. They found him unresponsive in a car, unfortunately. What should we say about this guy? I mean, when you look at him in his absolute prime, right? That draw with young James Toney, that was an absolute classic of a fight in the early 90s. And how about that run where he knocked out Julian Jackson when he was undefeated, beat Milton McCrory by TKO, knocks out Donald Curry? Those are the type of wins that get you in the hall. What are your experiences appreciating Mike Mccallum, the body snatcher?
Yeah, for me, it's a similar thing where for somehow even going back in time, because I was not up on Mccallum during the prime of his career. But going the way that as boxing fans, we go back and watch classic fights and catch up on guys' careers. If you're not being a true completist, which at times, I haven't been, it's very easy to miss out on Mccallum because you're thinking, oh, I just got, let me watch these Four Kings fights. Well, somehow they end up he ends up not getting in the mix with those guys, even though he's their contemporary. And, so the sort of, if you just went through the basic, I love boxing, I'm going to watch old fights. If you, I feel like almost on your first sweep, you're not going to see it. And and in all the YouTube clips that go around, you would think that Julian Jackson was the greatest fighter of all time, honestly. And I'm still not, I still kind of have believed that based on some of those YouTube clips. God damn, those knockouts. But then you see Mccallum handled him, right? 2 rounds.
Yeah.
2 rounds.
He also not only beat Stevie Collins.
He ran through in 3 consecutive fights, all the blokes. He got Harold Graham, then Stevie Collins, the hypnotist, then what's that? Brown. It's the next fight right after that.
Michael Watson, my
bad.
He was 22-1. Then he beat 22-1 Frank Minton. Yeah,
he ran through the UK like it was nothing. Hot knife through butter. And after those guys were having those fights with Ben and with Nigel Benn and with and Chris Eubanks Sr.
Yeah.
It was so his and the crazy thing about that resume. The crazy thing about that resume is that all of those wins come before he even fights for a title. He didn't boxing was different back in the day. That's something I was like,
real men.
That is not something I was used to seeing. A guy with all these marquee Hall of Fame caliber wins that made him a legit Hall of Famer without, nobody questions that. They're not even title fights. Now it's like every fight. You're not stepping in the ring if you're a half decent without some BS title attached to it. Like he did not fight for a single title until until that first draw with Tony, and never even won at middleweight. Didn't get a real championship until light heavyweight towards the end of his career. Boxing was a different sport back then, man.
Yeah, indeed. He would lose the second and third fights with Tony, including the final fight of his career in their trilogy. Also lost to an unbeaten Roy Jones right before that, but always took on tough challenges. Jamaican born, shout out to one of those guys that like doesn't jump off the top of everyone's mind, commercially from what he accomplished, but the real ones know that this guy, and I mean, what a nickname, what a reputation. I mean, that's just old school when box was box back in the late 80s there, early 90s.
We were alive, even if not grown in those times. It's sort of weird to think about.
But people have to understand, like, the Four Kings dominated the 80s. They were what everybody talked about until Mike Tyson arrived. And then everyone talked about heavyweight boxing only really through the 90s. Outside of Roy Jones and Nassim Hamed,
and Steve
I feel
Farhood,
like the only boxing conversations that were being had on a, casual sports fan level were those great heavyweights of that era. And, maybe some Chavez Whitaker was obviously a massive fight back then.
I remember watching that.
Took over the front of Sports Illustrated, but
and then also, 1996, the Golden Boy. That's when BC really started to care, when he saw that handsome face, and he just was like,
I saw him in the 92 Olympics when he was.
Was that 90? Shit. Oh, well.
Yeah.
Barcelona?
Marcus's roommate. Yeah. Shout out to him.
That's the one I was thinking of.
Indeed.
Shout out to the dream team.
Mr. C says Yoenli looked like a destroyer. Could we get it? Yeah, we hit that up. He looks awesome, but you're talking about 68. Yoenli's at 60. Let's let him get titles there. RIP, obviously, as well. I missed this Matthew Garrett submission here. John Jones must have done the initiation. Yeah, hopefully we'll see what's going on in the 2-2 prison, what Turkey's initiations are like. John Jones under some weird headlines lately, but we don't talk about skinheads in here. All right, Rafe, let's talk about what happened here. Teofimo Lopez Jr. So it appeared since we last potted that he was offered a fight for big money by Turki Al-Sheikh against Jaron Boutsenis. Jaron turned it down, whether that was an anti-racism decision or whether he just prefers to attempt to continue to unify belts at 147. But then apparently, according to Dan Rayfield's reporting, Teo gets offered considerably less money to fight Devin Haney. Then Teo calls Turkey a dictator with the DICK capitalized on Twitter, then announces he's getting fired. Then on Saturday puts out a tweet that's basically, full on.
I don't know. What are you talking about?
You don't know this tweet he put out?
I do know the tweet. No, I was just trying to get you to elaborate on your gesture, your hand. Do it again.
I don't.
Two hands.
So he would, apologize profusely in the tweet to Turkey. And a lot of people were like, oh, you talk all this game, you're this, you're that. And now you're sucking to the tea. And then he goes on some podcast and says, Turkey offered him $11 million for Haney. And then we wake up this morning and the fight's on. So Rafe, you could argue that this was always the fight to make in a lot of ways, since Ryan Garcia dropped the bag in Times Square. Haney won, but looked horrible. Teo's the only guy that looked decent on that card. But here's my problem. August 16th, 145-pound catchweight, Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, same day as the not official but proposed Tank Roach rematch. What are we doing here? Are you in? Are you excited? Does the Saudi part matter to you? I'm just really sick of fights that need to be in American arenas to drive up the buzz going over there. You want to put heavyweights over there from England? Sure. You want to put Better Biev and Bivol in Saudi? Sure. What are we doing here, Rafe? What are we doing?
Yeah, I mean, I can't really disagree with you on that, Brian. At the end of the day, it's a fight that makes sense, that should happen, that there is, it's weird. It's hard to get really excited about it because I think we all can sort of predict that this is not going to be a fun fight to watch wherever it occurs.
It'll be horrible, dude. Haney just proved against the corpse that he's willing to win as boring as possible.
And I think it is probably fair to expect that he will try to employ as much of that as he can against as he can get away with against Teofimo Lopez, and hopefully Teo can do something to force Haney into more of a fight. And I would, while it wasn't a big deal against Jose Ramirez, who wasn't even really trying in that last fight, you don't want to see Haney win fights, too many fights that way, meaningful fights like this is going to be. You don't want to see him steal too many on the bike like that. We'll see. Look, let's watch the fight and see how it actually turns out. Maybe, but that is, it's, you'd be crazy to think that this is a can't miss fight. Where it happens, look, it's weird. Like, why I honestly don't even understand why Turkey wants to be in business with U.S. fighters if he's going to drag them, bring them back to Saudi and make them fight on the same night as other big U.S. cards. Like, even if he were just gonna, I hope you're right, Rob, that he doesn't do that. And I think even if, even if they're gonna fight in Riyadh, like, ain't nothing else going. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say that. I don't know the actual event schedule there, but my guess is that, like, Turkey can make the fight on any weekend he wants.
Sure.
Like, they'll just move it to the next day. Like, he decides he doesn't want to. If he wakes up in the morning on the morning of the fight and decides, let's do it tomorrow, they'll move it all to tomorrow. So I don't understand, why would you put it up against another important fight for the U.S. audience unless it's like some stupid attempt to sort of sabotage Tank. But you're not gonna do that. You're not gonna, like, not on DAZN, not in Riyadh. You're not gonna get any buzz away from that other card. So what's the point? Why it doesn't make any sense. I think we're psychoanalyzing it or trying to sort of suss out the logic in all of it is the initial mistakes. We got to stop doing that. We got to stop reading some sort of rationale into these decisions. He just is like he's throwing a dart at a calendar, being like, let's do that week. And it doesn't make sense because it's not being planned. That's not great.
This fight in New York be fire? This Barclays or something? This be a fire. This would be the atmosphere would be great.
Listen, whether they want to do it in Barclays, in Los Angeles, in Florida, in Las Vegas, they would get a good fight crowd for any of them. New York, yeah, I think New York would look good, especially because, like, that crowd comes out for those kind of fights. But I don't know what do you. I'm not spending the money. Like,
yeah. I'm really just sour on the Saudi experience. I mean, I'm not sour on Turkey being in the sport and making big fights. Like I said, there's certain fights that it kind of, that's the only way we can afford it. Or, hey, those fighters are from not far from there. Maybe it makes more sense. But to put American young stars after that debacle in Times Square, which was on American soil, but there was a lot of decisions and handling there that turned that into a debacle. But to then go, yeah, we'll just rush them out to Riyadh. So you're either fighting at 6 or 7 a.m. to make an American time, or you're fighting in the afternoon. I mean, maybe that's good if it doesn't go head to head with Tank for boxing fans, but maybe you get all day of boxing. I don't know.
Do you think, and shout out to our blokes, our fam across the pond there in the UK. Do you think that we were, the US boxing fan community was sort of overlooking that issue in recent years as Riyadh season and Turkey sort of, made their move in the sport and were putting on these great fights, but with largely, foreign fighters to us who weren't always fighting in our primetime windows anyway, right? It was often UK and
UK's always been hurting from the time change. Believe me. All right, I'm a selfish East Coast.
But like, in addition to that, like it's the fight crowds that they're able to muster in the UK are clearly. I mean, would you argue that they're not like on average way more impressive than what we put together here in the state? I mean, like, their events seem incredible. Like that is on my boxing fan bucket list now, is to go watch a big fight in London or somewhere. Honestly, it does have to be Wembley, so I can at least say that I was on that hallowed ground where George Groves uncorked a peach of a right hand in the ninth round and starched George Groves in their rematch in front of
our guy is here. Our guy is here. Okay, our guy.
Which
Alan Dub is here.
Oh shit!
That's our guy. Welcome, L&W. Thank you for your support of this podcast.
Yes, sir. The man, the myth, the legend
himself puts more liquid crack in Rafe's body. Just a gentleman, a scholar.
I appreciate
you very
it.
much,
I appreciate
sir.
what you do for me.
Thank you. Wow. Real quick here from Hank Williams the fourth. Rafe, did you see Donnie Nietes lose?
Hank Williams is on point.
60 to 54 times 3 to a 7-2-1 Japan guy. Could be a precursor to Manny's fight.
I did not see that Donnie Nietes fight. That's a shame. I mean, can't say I'm surprised. He was off for so long, was already old after after what was it, Kasaoka? No, he won the Kasaoka fight. Anyway, he was he was off for a minute. He seemed like I would have been surprised if this comeback led to Donnie Nietes competing for legit championships again, especially with Bam in that division. But I'll check it out. I'm still a fan going way back.
Yeah. What did you think about, speaking of Filipino legends, now that this is official, July 19th, PBC on pay-per-view, Prime pay-per-view, Manny versus Barrios. And dude, this, you got to say it, this pay-per-view is loaded. We're getting Fundora Zoo part 2 in the co-main event for one belt at 54. We're getting Pitbull Cruz in a rematch with Angel Fierro, which was one of the best fights of the year so far. And we're getting Brandon Figueroa against Joette Gonzalez. So if he beats Joette, he gets his I think he gets his sister. And then but we know that Barrios already.
If the sisters are on the line, then I'd be fighting for my life. I will be fighting. Joette will be fighting the hardest you see him come out like a house on fire.
Yeah. Indeed, in frickin' deed. You saw me interview Manny. I don't know if you've seen any other interviews with him. What are you feeling about all this? Because I'm just like, all right, PBC, you're taking a chance, but it is a smart move to bring in eyeballs. I don't know what Manny's going to give us. I do fear the worst case scenario, that everybody looks bad and he gets hurt. Barrios ain't a world beater. You got Chris Algieri saying he thinks Manny wins. There's people out there. Abner Maris thinks Manny can win. What do you think?
Yeah, look, I'm not concerned for Manny at all. All right. I in fact, I'm pretty optimistic for his chances in this fight. If he has a training camp, which it seems like he's doing, he's been in LA. They're doing all the same old stupid videos, which don't really mean anything, but at least it means that he's there and working out, right? Like, yes, we know that he is, like, he's not hanging out with Boo Boy playing billiards somewhere. And,
well, they're probably doing that.
Well, yeah, but after they work out, after Manny gets hit 5,000 times with the bamboo stick.
You said they work out. Boo Boy ain't working out, bro. Okay, all right, let's be honest.
Boo Boy supervises. I have never been that, convinced in Mario Barrios. Of course, he's much younger and in the prime of his career, but I just he's going
he's
to
a lot taller than Manny.
So. Okay, they were there next to you. He didn't look that much bigger. I was surprised. I guess, was he taller than you though?
Oh, so let me tell you about that shot. Oh, they had it set up. You know how there's all these.
Was Manny on a box? I hope Manny cannot.
Manny was not on a box.
Manny will not stand on a box.
But so there's a bunch of cables that run right on the floor leading to the ring for the broadcast. They cover those cables in this like tent shaped hard plastic thing. I was standing on the down part of the hard plastic. Manny was standing on top of the hard plastic. So Manny got a boost.
I see.
Barrios was on the floor. Barrios, in the face-off pictures from the press conference earlier that day in Vegas, looked a lot bigger than him, and he looked a lot taller than him in person. Height doesn't win fights, but it was interesting to see.
Okay, no, but that was okay. So that does explain my why my one takeaway from your exciting between fights interview with them on Saturday night was like, man, Manny didn't look that short next to either of you. Like, I've seen Manny, he's tiny, but so that is explained. Look, even with the height discrepancy, burping, even with the height discrepancy, I think Barrios is going to come forward and give Manny opportunities to get his offense off. If he does, if he's not if it will require some Manny magic, right? Some
challenge.
It will require him to have more than any other 46-year-old should have. But if there's anyone I'm going to count on to do that, it's going to be this guy, because he's done it over and over again. And Barrios is not going to show him anything he hasn't seen before or anything that he can't take. Like I think I'm into the fight. I think it'll be fun, man. Manny's fun, man. He's gonna.
Dude, I hope I call that fight.
He wants to make the people happy.
He wants to make me happy. I'm very happy for that. By the way, Manny and I are the same age. Okay, so if he can do it, you
can do it too. Yeah, you could spar Jermell Charlo on YouTube also.
I beat Barrios. I took sister. No. Question here from the great Alan W. Thank you so much for your support. If Manny wins this month and fights Tank, that's a plan. And Manny did say he would love to fight Tank. And I've on record saying they should have fought 2 years ago. I mean that. And let's say so you're saying if Manny wins this month, then beats Tank. Wow. Okay. Wow. How much movement in the all-time great list does it make? They say Jordan is the greatest. LeBron has the greatest career. Similar situation. EPO for the win. So I brought this up on MK the other day. I said, what if Manny just beats Barrios? And are we getting closer to where he can actually trump Floyd on the all-time great list, even though they lost a head-to-head meeting when they were 38 and 36 years old?
I mean, unless I think if you're going to make that case, you already have everything you need to make that case based on, where Manny started his career, the strength of opposition throughout the course of his career, the breadth of names on his resume. And like Floyd's resume is no slouch either, but you can say that Manny has wins there that are just like next level. Yeah. Outrageous.
Cotto at welterweight. It's an outrageous win right there.
And so yes, there is I guess if you want to make that case, because Manny fought for so long and was so active for many parts of his career, like you already have everything you need to make that case. I think that it's not a winning case just because of because of the head-to-head matchup, which finally sort of put a stake in it. As well as just, where Floyd always seemed like the better fighter. He did. Not what I was rooting for Manny. It was fun,
even though they were old, they were 1 and 2 pound for pound when they fought. Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. It would do a lot, though. It would be a nice feather on the cap. I don't know if he's getting by Tank. Imagine if he beat Barrios, and obviously everyone's calling him at that point if he's the new welterweight champion.
Yeah.
And then he knocks out Rolly. Wow.
I mean, that's pretty easy work too.
Oh, get out of here. Tell that to Ryan. Oh, by the way, Manny back with fortune, so the pharmacy should be
wide open. I mean, he needs to visit pharmacies from all nations. So he needs the Philippine pharmacy, the United States pharmacy, the Mexican pharmacy, the Canadian pharmacy. Just take it all.
Yeah, indeed. Also, fat fellers can definitely fight. Quick comment here from Hank. Yoenli Hernandez training out of Providence, Rhode Island was the most random tidbit on the Amazon broadcast. Would have guessed Miami or San Diego. Yeah, there's a few of those, like Cuban David Morrell ending up in Minneapolis because that's where Louis de Cuba Sr., when he came to the States, that's where he moved to. So there's a Cuban community there. I never guessed Yoenli Hernandez would be in Providence, which is Boo Boo Andrade territory.
But I was going to say, hanging out with Boo Boo.
Yeah, shout out to New England, just the same. Also, Dixon Sider saying women from Rhode Island are witches, which is, analysis you don't see on other boxing podcasts. So I'm also hyped, by the way, Jacob, for this Figueroa versus Joette fight. That should be a good fight. That's going to be a good pay-per-view. Also, Carmel Moten won over the weekend. I'm kind of getting ready for him to really make the leap to consistent televised fights because he's fun to watch. And let me tell you this about Floyd. Friday night, after my production meeting, I ran into Alan Dawson. You know that fantastic British boy?
Yeah, lots of good work over the years. He's doing his own thing now, right? Or something?
Yeah, he's working for like 4 or 5 different outlets. He's a hustler, baby. And
it sucks, yo.
We got a drink at the Mandalay Sportsbook, which I hate Vegas. That's one of the only places I like hanging out. Guess who walks in randomly? Floyd Mayweather with 5 security guards.
Yeah,
strategically
the big guys
around him. The guy in the front, now he's had big guys before. The guy in the front was 7 feet tall and the most jacked African-American man I have ever seen in my life. I mean, just a monstrosity. They walk him to the desk. He has stacks that he put down on something, and then they walk him out in a circle around him. He looked right at me too. And I pointed, I'm like, there's Floyd. And he kind of gave me like oh, that's that white boy look. But it was interesting. Did he recognize me? I think he did, but maybe I'm just another, random journalist to him. But it was interesting. All right.
That's awesome. I mean, I mean, we've seen him posting his bet slips over and over again throughout the course of history. I mean, these are, and he's, to be there and see it actually go down. That's awesome, man. I would go nuts if I saw that.
All right, time to get into the weekend, and there's some things to care about. So, Rafe, are you ready to find out if you actually care?
No, I'm not done with Floyd. I want to. Okay. Would you, Brian Campbell, be able to campeon Floyd Mayweather? Like if you would have to sweet talk your way through how many layers of gigantic bodyguard to get next to Floyd, who doesn't really care what you have to say to begin with, but you campeon hard. He's might be able to do it. You might be able. I would love to see you take on this challenge and be like, and then put your arm around him all sloppy and be like, Floyd, you had no business. You had no business coming back from what Shane put on you in that second round, but then you fucked him up, man. You fucked him up. You're a champion, Floyd, champion.
He's always been leery of me because I wrote a lot of, negative columns of his matchmaking in his prime. And then when I did that thing for entertainment at the Logan Paul, Floyd Mayweather, Versace Mansion Media Day, when I lured him into a conversation about his matchmaking just to create some content in which I was ultimately praising him, telling him that we got it wrong being so harsh against him, but it came across like I wasn't. So we had a little moment there. I think since then he probably looks at me as not somebody he likes, but I don't know. It would have been worth trying to campeon him, but a security guard probably would have just stiff armed me. Huh?
You got to campeon the security guard first.
Yeah, or just glaze the F out of him like 9:15 a.m. says. I don't think he even cares about that, but I have no disrespect. I like Floyd. Floyd gave us a lot. Floyd's great. Dude, 10 years from now, Floyd's resume is going to look 100 times better than it does now, and we're going to talk about him as one of the greatest of all time, like we should.
He is.
He was he was amazing. Yeah. He was absolutely amazing. You know it. The real ones know. You know this game.
Look. The reason I'm not saying anything is because I have no objections. Like this is settled in my book.
I mean, at 36, what he did to Canelo, I don't even care. That all my heroes are probably on PEDs. What he did at 36 to Canelo is wild.
Yeah.
All right. Wild. Alan W. Floyd probably gave you a 3-piece combo if you tried. Yeah, probably. But shout out to him and you, Alan Dubs, just the same. All right. It's time to find out here. Let's go. Thursday night, Montreal, ESPN Plus. Albert Ramirez versus Daniel Blenda dos Santos, 10 rounds light heavyweights. This is a televised card. Do you care?
No.
Friday night, Verona, New York. Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame weekend.
Contestada. It is DAZN. It is a Dimitri Salita Promotions card, also sponsored by All the Smoke Fight, which is the company Morning Combat is associated with. And in the main event, Brandon Moore will take on Stanley Wright, 10 rounds heavyweights. Joshua Pagan in the co-main, 10 rounds lightweights against James Bernardin. And don't forget about Franchon Cruz DAZN defending her unified
forget about her,
super middleweight title against Citali Ortiz. Rafe, do you care at all?
Oh man, this is a tough one. Like I like I like Salita Promotions. They're here in the D. What up, though? I like All the Smoke and Meadowlark and Morning Combat.
I like Mike Tyson.
I like Mike Tyson. Is he involved? No, but still. I like all those things. I like the Hall of Fame. I love Canastota.
Yep.
But who are these people? Should I like who's in these fights?
I mean, I like what Salita Promotions is doing. I'm happy he got on DAZN. It's kind of like the new ShowBox in a lot of ways. It's like a ShowBox card, a Hall of Fame weekend, which I called a couple of those and they were great. That's what this is. Thank you, Saul.
I guess without the ShowBox brand, I don't have like that meant a lot. Like it was like it's ShowBox, I'm in. It's Friday Night Fights, I'm checking it. But now it's like I don't know who these people are. I don't give a fuck.
Speaking of Saul, shout out for jumping on board. Morning Combat merch site finally back up. Morningcombat.shop. All proceeds go to Luke BC in Long Island, Luke. We should get you one. We got to outfit you in something, okay?
Please do. I wear out my hat. My morning combat hat is getting a little ratty.
That's so good. Yes. All right. Let's continue to find out. Friday, no American television, Newcastle, England. Josh Kelly, remember that handsome bloke? He'll be taking on Flavius Balea, 10 or 12 rounds, your choice, junior middleweights.
What country is Flavius from? Is this like a European championship type thing or something?
Flavius Balea. Let me look at it. Let me look it up.
A nice paella.
Flavius Balea is from, he's 35. He's from Romania. He's 24-1 with 17 KOs. It doesn't look like he's rarely fought out of Romania. He fought in Canada a bunch. This will be in Newcastle. Shout out to the Geordie Shore. What, are we still in the Josh Kelly business right now?
I don't know. Look, business is open, but it isn't booming, right? I mean, this is like the late stages of Kmart here.
You think it's that late? Where are we in the journey? Because he was
not that late. No, it's not. It's not moribund. It's not the end. He's lost. I think he's basically been exposed as not, that great of a fighter, but he's still, the things that made him interesting, his speed, his boxing ability are still good there. Looks. Yeah. His good looks. Yeah.
All right. So he's the pretty boy is 16-1-1 right now. The two blemishes are a pretty damn disappointing,
right?
Well, the loss to Avanesian was by TKO in the 6th round in 2021. And 2 years before that, he fought to a majority draw with the other Ray Robinson, right? Not sure.
Oh, right. I remember that Ray Robinson. Yes. Yeah. Look, losing that badly to Avanesian is sort of a bit of a red flag. Cause we know Avanesian is a pretty defined entity. We know who he is, how good he is, who he beats and who he doesn't beat. And we've seen a pretty long list of real championship level welterweights, have no trouble with him at all. So getting stopped by Avanesian is a bit of a red flag in terms of how, the big picture. But is he still a fun domestic fighter? Can he still maybe pack in a crowd in Newcastle? Have some and anything. If you catch me in the right moment with a good parts unknown fighter, like whoever this Flavius guy is, Romania, fucking vampires, man, I'm in.
Yeah, 10 rounds we're going for this. I'll check it out.
Why not? You never know what you're going to see. Are we going to see like a one of these guys, like a Ricardo Torres, like one of these guys comes in from Colombia and is in big trouble, or are we going to see a George Comanche boy Tadua Nipa, just getting sent to hell?
It's been a long time since Kelly's lost, so I have to believe he's going to be in a big fight soon at 54, right?
He's probably on a winning streak too, so he's probably
All right, we'll see what happens.
Is he with Eddie now, or is he with Frank?
Well, if this is not televised in the U.S., he's probably with neither, but I'm
not
really sure. Alan W., thank you for your great support. You invite my boy Rafe on MK for Hall of Fame review. Other people, by the way, Rafe, I don't know what that means. Have you? Oh, because Manny's going in the Hall of Fame, by the way, also this weekend. So shout out.
I know. I kind of wanted to go, but I'm not.
Yeah, I know. I felt that. Yeah, I know. Also,
he shouldn't be going in. He's fighting. This is the whole rules of the Hall of Fame are being
They need
broken.
a headliner to sell tickets. You know that. 9:15 a.m. Can y'all do a boxing version of pregame preview with Rafe for some of the bigger upcoming boxing matches like Canelo Crawford or Bivol Better? I mean, Rafe would be the perfect choice to be our third for a in studio if you're in New York. Right now, though, we are sponsored by Cuervo and Morning Combat for the UFC pregame previews. But if we can find a way to bring that into boxing as well, Rafe would be the first call for sure.
Well, thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, let's continue on the if somebody's going to write into us about Mike Perez, I'm going to play it. Mike Perez Fight Week, BC. Don't forget the Rebel fights Stephen Ward of Northern Ireland, friend of Frampton, at cruiserweight on Saturday. Will you care about that, Rafe? Mike Perez still here?
Well, yeah, Ireland on Ireland violence, right? Because wasn't Mike Perez the Irish Cuban Mike? He was training out there. Oh, good for him.
Well, that card in question is Saturday, Ipswich, England, on DAZN. In the main event, Fabio Wardley will face Justice Hooney for the vacant WBA interim heavyweight title.
That's kind of interesting, right? That's
kind of interesting. Yes. A couple other fights on there of note. It says Dillian White versus TBA on Dan Rayfield's schedule. I don't know if that's
can't wait for that.
I don't know if that's still true. Let's talk about what we really care about for Saturday. I care a lot about this fight. Check out my interview with Keyshawn Davis on this here channel. If you missed it, he talks a big game, Norfolk, Virginia. I just retweeted that clip of like Michael Vick at a football stadium announcing Keyshawn in with other Norfolk legends there. Keyshawn, the businessman Davis, in his first title defense after absolutely blowing away Dennis Berinchik, will take on hard-hitting Edwin De Los Santos for that WBO lightweight title. Now, De Los Santos has not fought since that loss to Shakur, where he limited, to like a CompuBox low record of punches landed. But there's been some health issues. There's been a long time out of the ring, but I've got to look at this as the first like real challenge of Keyshawn's career. Keyshawn pissed on it in that interview. He's like, no, I'm going to knock this guy out. He's nothing. Rafe, you know this southpaw Edwin De Los Santos can bang. He's explosive. He knocked out El Rayo Valenzuela. Like, this is a real ass fight, and I'm here for it because there's starting to be some people going, Keyshawn is a little too cocky. He may get in trouble here. Ultimately, I think the businessman will be okay, but this is the right challenge at the right time. Home arena, all three Davis brothers, Abdullah Mason on the card. I'm fired up. Are you feeling it?
Yeah, look, I want to see Keyshawn Davis every time he's out. He's in that status right now where he's, he got a belt, like he's rising up, he's calling everyone out, and his talent is back, it seems equivalent to all the shit that he's saying and all the hopes that we're projecting onto him as fans. And so I'm on board the train until the wheels start coming off. Whether that's 15 years from now or he something upsets the apple cart. He's a fun fighter. He's so talented. He's like you watch him and you get that feeling like, oh, I actually might be watching the future face of American boxing, or even if he doesn't get famous like that, fuck the whole face of the sport conversation. I might be watching someone who in 5 years we're calling the best fighter in the world, or one of the top 3 fighters in the world. Like he pops on the screen like that. And because he has a belt now, he at least has to have halfway decent opposition every time out. And I think that's probably still where we're at now with De Los Santos, but still it's like, it's a credible opponent.
Very toughest fight for both of them, I think. Probably.
I feel like Berinchik, I would have rated higher going into those fights.
Oh, dude, Keyshawn pissed on him. He's mad that Berinchik
he sucked and quit. Yeah. He saw it. But like going into that looked like a really good matchup. And I mean, kudos to Keyshawn for making it look like it did. And maybe Berinchik should have, I don't know. Who knows what went wrong with him, but it wasn't good.
I don't think it's hyperbole. I agree with you. Keyshawn is the next big thing. He really is, dude. And he wants all that smoke. He wants Tank tomorrow. I wonder if him and Shakur, who originally said they wouldn't fight, I wonder if that's not a thing now. I wonder if they will.
Well,
fight.
I mean, if Top Rank is giving, is feeding old Shakur opponents to Keyshawn, that's usually what a promoter does when they want to, I mean, I guess they don't promote Shakur anymore, but that is, so they have no control over it. But that is the old formula for stoking some embers of a rivalry between two guys. You say, oh, this guy who you had the most boring fight ever with, I just knocked out in 3 rounds.
What do you think happens here? Because I could see Keyshawn going into the fire he's very slick on the inside. So he really can swivel and punch. And it just feels like when he lands, it doesn't look that powerful, but guys react. Like there's some pop there. There's some real special, from the angles to the speed to the power to the overwhelming confidence. I could see it. Dude, if he stops Edwin De Los Santos, it's a major statement. And I can see it happening.
I could definitely see it happen. I think as credible as De Los Santos is, to me, I don't know, this is Keyshawn's fight to sort of like he should, if he's the fighter that he looks like, that we think he is, this is a blank canvas for him to paint whatever he wants on top of it.
Yeah. And this is going to be a great atmosphere. And this fight card is deep. Co-main event, Abdullah Mason, who wants to be in a title fight right now, is going to go 10 rounds at lightweight with Jeremiah Nakatila. How do you say that? Nakatila?
I think Nakatila is what I used to hear when he was fighting before.
I mean,
Did he lose to Josh Taylor?
Yeah, I mean, he's the top ranked guy that's going to test the young prospects. But dude, Abdullah is the goods. Just like Shushu, they want title fights now, dude. These top ranked guys are here. They're ready.
Yeah, well, I think that Keyshawn is the one who I mean, he already has a title, but he's the of those three top rank, young, exciting top rank fighters. He seems like the cream of the crop
For
at the
sure.
moment.
For sure. Definitely. So that fight's happening.
Younger. I mean, he's got so much room to grow.
His brother Keon Davis, the 6'1" welterweight or 6'4", super big. He's taking on Michael Velez Garcia in a 6-round welterweight matchup. But Kelvin Davis, the older brother of Keyshawn, is in a 10-round junior welterweight bout with Philadelphia's Nahir Albright. And Albright, if you remember, gave Keyshawn probably his toughest fight to date. So this is going to be I think that's great matchmaking. It's going to be interesting. Top Rank also signed Yuri Cedeno, who is a very good looking young prospect. He'll be making his Top Rank debut in a middleweight bout, 10 rounds against Abel Mina. Tiger Johnson against Showbox alumni Janelson Boca Chica. Troy Isley's on this card. I'm in, Rafe. I'm fired up for Saturday night.
That's a lot there that I don't care about, but there's enough at the top of this card that I do care about.
All right. Do you care also Saturday? Also on DAZN. Dude, DAZN at all times has like 46 fight cards going on. Orlando, Florida.
DAZN is like going on to like it's like turning on the horse racing channel where he's like, is something going to be happening? Yeah, someone's fighting. I have no clue who,
exactly.
Where, what, but somebody's betting on it somewhere.
Well, I'll tell you about this main event. Beatriz Ferreira will defend her IBF women's lightweight title against Maria Inés Ferreira. Ferreira on Ferreira, crime here, spelled differently. You don't care, right? No.
What is this?
All right. Also Saturday from San Antonio, ProBox TV offering Justin Paldo versus former world champion Juan Carlos Burgos, a 10-round lightweight bout, or former world champion title contender. Remember him from the Mikey Garcia?
Man. Yeah, exactly. And there was the other Burgos too. That was always the confusing thing.
He got hurt bad. Yeah. The older, right? Remember that fight? He got hurt. It was against Darchinian on Showtime, and he got beat up really bad.
Really easy. I thought they were bigger than those guys. Than Darchinian? Anyway.
Yeah. No. They're. I mean, Juan is a lightweight now, but he was fighting Mikey a lot lower. No TV on set. You don't care about that. So someone in this chat is saying, well, first of all, Saturday, Newtown, Pennsylvania, the home of Eric Raskin.
That's right. I'm glad you remembered that.
Get this matchup in the main event. We got to find a stream for this. Mickey Bay versus Oscar Escandon, 8 rounds lightweights. Dude, Night of Champions.
I'm pretty in on that one, yeah. Did Mickey Bay fight on Night of Champions?
Yeah, no. Remember he got, everyone thought he got robbed against that dude.
In Night of Champions? I'm trying to remember.
Night of Champions co-main event.
That was Escandon and Tyson Cave.
Yeah, Tyson Cave. Yeah, yes.
Yeah, but did Mickey Bay fight in the Night of Champions?
No, he was just next to me at the Palm Steakhouse, and you didn't care when I sent you that picture. Okay. And I still have that picture. In fact, I'm going to add that picture.
Maybe if you were near John Molina, yes, I'm in. If you're near John Molina, I'm down. But
Dick's Insider supporting our show has a question. Who's finna throw more punches, Davis or Edwin De Los Santos? Davis.
I would, yeah. I think that Davis also, just because even if De Los Santos wants to be busy, I think that the athleticism, the footwork, the agility, the angles, it's gonna be hard for him to figure out where to throw the punches.
Yeah, indeed. We also have more support coming in on this from Alan W. How them soundboards be not ready yet? Okay, we'll turn our life around eventually. And also, Alan W. might be the Keyshawn story and not the Four Princes. That's what's interesting. I asked him in my interview with him, do you want to be included? By the way, so Mulvaney came up with Four Princes, but Ryan Garcia wants them to be called the Four Horsemen. Either way, if we're including Keyshawn, we got to go up to 6. Keyshawn told me, F that. They're over here. I'm over here. I'm the GOAT of this era, and I'm going to prove it to you. I like that kind of talk.
I agree. Yeah. I mean, to the Four Horsemen, why not call them I don't know, 3 men and a little lady or something? I don't we got to come up with something more derogatory, whatever it is, because they're four, it's one lunatic who can fight, one, one dumbass and 2, I don't even know what.
How come DAZN has 84 cards this weekend and no Mickey Bay Escandon with Raskin in attendance?
Well, you didn't even bring up, I don't know if are you going to get to the one that we've seen lighten up the internet?
Are you talking about this Saturday fight that people are saying is at Fenway Park in Boston?
No, I believe there's one happening abroad in
Sunday.
Moscow.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Sunday's card from Tokyo on ESPN Plus, as pound for pound ranked Junto Nakatani will will enter a bantamweight title unification against Raisuke Nishida. That's a good ass fight.
Well, that's an excellent fight, and I'm looking forward to that more than probably everything else we've talked about so far. But no, I'm talking about this thing I've seen online where Ruslan Provodnikov is coming back
Oh my God.
double down on his previous knockout win over Jose Luis Castillo.
So Castillo hasn't fought since they fought in 2013.
Yeah.
Mickey Rourke was in the house.
That's right, beating up a homeless man. It was incredible.
So that's going on this weekend in Russia. We have to find a stream.
Yes.
We should just do a live react. We should do oh my God. Also, so are you down on Nakatani? Because the co-main event is on Nakatani.
How is Mama Provodnikov? Do we know? We have a wellness check on her? When was the last time we've seen or heard from her? I hope she's doing well.
What's Manny's mom's name?
Oh, Mommy Dionisha. She's doing well. Don't worry.
Mommy D.
Mommy
So they're telling me in this chat that there's a Fenway Park boxing card on Saturday with Abraham Nova in the co-main event.
Oh, I heard about this. It has some white Irish guy from Boston.
All right.
The main guy.
The main event is Thomas O'Toole against Laurent Humes. I don't know.
Oh my God.
All right. So in the Junto co-main event on ESPN Plus on Sunday, Tenshin Nasukawa, the guy who cried after Floyd lit him up in that thing, he's taking on Victor Santillan in 10 rounds bantamweights. Not bad. And also on Sunday, down under Broad Beach, Australia, and on DAZN, Jayo Pataya will defend his lineal and IBF cruiserweight title against Claudio Squeo. 12 rounds. Will you watch this?
Yeah, look, I mean, I'll always peep Pataya. He's really good, but what the hell is this fight? Who is it? Where? How did they can't
he's
get?
He's doing Golovkin stuff. He's just
Turkey. Put some money behind that, man. Put some, make it happen.
Alan W is finding out his age at the moment. Corrales Castillo 20 years ago last month. Yep.
Yeah, you got to better effing get inside on that.
Yep. And unfortunately, the problems with putting a fight card at Fenway Park, according to Brody Moret, is you will hear a lot of you'll hear a lot of shit in there. Okay. Great stuff. One final question from Dick's Insider. BC, will you guys be auctioning podcast worn MK merch? Like if someone wanted to own the pair of okay, this is getting really gross. All right. Yes, you can bid on that all you want, and I will send them to you unwashed.
As I say, should he wash first or not?
No.
Well,
hey, what a great show.
What if the request was for you not to wash them, but then you took them off and you saw you had like a hash mark on there? Would you stay with the deal, or would you wash it because
if the bid was really high? You know what I mean? If the bid was really high and it can help me put these kids through college,
would you go back? Would you go back to the buyer and say, "Look, I can sell this to you, but it's going to cost more because it has some of my DNA on it."
Okay, we're getting gross here. I wanted unwashed and unsigned Dick's Insider. Yes. Ham Sandwich wants an Inside the Box T-shirt.
We're gonna have to make some.
All right. I think we're going to, so Long Island Luke is running our MK merch site, and I think we're going to eventually have the opportunity to put our own stuff on there. So we'll see where we go with that. But Rafe with a salt shaker would just be great. You know what I mean? That'd be fantastic. Hey, that's all the box we can handle today. Rafe, thank you for giving 2 hours to these people. All right. Because you just care about this sport.
I love it. I care.
Sport.
I care.
All right. All right. BC bathwater soap. Yeah, I'd sell that too. I'd sell that. I'd fart in a bottle for any listener that was interested. All right. This got weird. Rafe, do you want to tell the people where you'll be? You got a 15 minutes at any stand-up coming up or anything like that?
No stand-ups coming, but thank you for spending these 2 hours with us. And you know me, I got some books out there if you want to read.
Yeah. New York Times best-selling author. Check out 2 and 2. McSorley's My Dad and Me, a fantastic read.
And shout out to our guy, Mark Kriegel. It's pub day for him. His new Mike Tyson biography. I respect authors like Triple G, respect athletes. And Kriegel, when he decides to write, still knows how to do it. So I hear it's a good book, and it seems like it's going to take off because people fucking buy anything with Mike Tyson on it.
Yes. Like Ali, which has kept Thomas Hauser in business a long time. By the way, Kriegel said that the company forced him to write this Tyson book because the other stuff he wanted to write didn't sell, and now he owes them.
Yeah, well, from what I heard, I mean, he had a contract with a publisher to deliver 2 books, 3 books, and he had done the first couple of books or something like that, and then he got that ESPN job, which was a big deal, and it's full time and probably paid more than most books, would pay anyone. And he probably and in his head he's thinking, look, man, it's just like it ain't worth it at this point. I'm just going to let the contract go out.
I know
they talked him into it because of Tyson. They said, do Tyson. And he said no. And then they said, don't give money back to the publisher, which I agree with. I mean, don't give money back to the publisher.
Indeed.
And on top of that, I would struggle in a situation like that. If my heart wasn't in it anymore and I was supposed to deliver a full book, that's a lot of work. It's hard to devote yourself to write a whole book on something if you didn't go in planning to pour yourself into it. It sounded like he was able to reach that level of commitment or to get the job done in a quality way without, even though it wasn't the thing that he planned on doing. And on some level, he did it just because, he was like, I ain't giving money back to the publisher.
I would have respected that too. Mr. C, yes, we'll commit. I'll commit to next week. You ready? We'll recap.
Yeah, sure. If nothing happens though, whatever, we'll sit here and we'll do it.
I just want you one day to go, F it. I'm getting back into the writing game. I'm writing a book about boxing. It's going to be about the rise of Triple G.
Who would buy that? Where do I have to move to Kazakhstan for that? Yeah, it's too late, Chief. What, are you showing me your pit stains? What's going on?
All right, let's leave. All right, that's Rafe Boogs. You can follow him on Insta at Rafe Boogs, X2 probably at Teo Payang.
Twitter, as I call it.
Meet him at Winchel's in the LA area, if you will. Okay. We'll leave you with the best outro going in today's game. Rafe, peace out, brother.
We out.